Hello and welcome to the UiPath Studio Agility Pack demo. We are about to explore some new features and improvements meant to facilitate variable and argument management and to help save time during the process of workflow creation. Let's begin. For starters, we will create a simple sequence which concatenates two strings. Let's name it concat. The next thing we're doing is adding two assign activities, one for each input string. We need to create the two string variables now. We can use the Ctrl+K shortcut to generate them right here. Let's also set their value to string instead of the default generic value. Later on, we will invoke this workflow and pass it two string arguments. But until then, we need to create two arguments with the in direction. Starting with this version, we can generate in arguments simply by using the Ctrl+M key combination. Here they are in the Arguments panel. Moving on, we will use another assign activity to build the concatenated string. Now, in order to pass the concatenated string to the main workflow, let's create an argument with the out direction. To create out arguments, we can now press Ctrl+Shift+M. We should use an easily recognizable name, so let's call this one result string. Another useful feature that was introduced with the new Studio version is the possibility to copy and paste variables and arguments from one workflow to another. Let's select all three of them and paste them in this other workflow called main. Now, instead of using them as arguments in this workflow, let's imagine that we want to turn them into variables. That is now possible with just a few clicks. Simply choose the items, right-click them, and select Convert to Variable. The reverse conversion is also available, so if we want to turn variables into arguments, we can follow the same steps, but select the Convert to Argument option. As you can see, our three items are now displayed in the Variables panel instead of the Arguments one. Let's move on. We will invoke the concat workflow in the main one. Since we've turned all the arguments into variables, let's invoke the arguments and assign them some default values. Finally, let's add a message box activity to the designer panel and set its value to the result string argument that we created earlier. Another small but important improvement is that if we change the name of an argument, all its occurrences throughout the workflow are updated accordingly. Previously, the option was only available for variables, but now it also applies to arguments. And that was all for today. Stay tuned for the next tutorials.